Hey everyone, Pastor Wes here with you on Wednesday afternoon once again. Hope your week is going well. Last couple of weeks we've been talking from Colossians and talking about this growing in God and learning how to focus on the things that are above, setting our mind on the things that are above, thinking heavenly minded. And one of the last things that we said last week was that focusing on the things above is what creates a sense of security within our soul, because no matter what happens to us in this world, no matter how people treat us, no matter how they handle us, whether they do us wrong, whether they do us right, really at the end of the day, we know that we have a better home waiting for us, an eternal home. We are not of this world. We are only passing through this world. In verse 2 of Colossians of chapter 3, Paul tells us how to seek the things that are above when he says, set your mind on things that are above, not on earthly things or not on the things of this earth. Set your mind comes from the Greek word phronio, and it simply means to think, or it means to have this inner disposition. And once again, we see the present tense is used, and it indicates to us that it is an ongoing action in our lives as believers. It is a continuous daily action that we're to have in our lives, to have in our walk with the Lord. And taking that just a step further, we're not just to seek heaven, but we're to think heaven. We're not to seek heavenly things, but also to think heavenly things, to think heavenly minded, or what I sometimes call having a kingdom mind, thinking according to the Word of God and allowing the Word of God to permeate our thoughts all day long, every day. Now, when I say that, don't confuse this with the thought of having complete and total withdrawal from everything of the world and in the world and the people of the world. Otherwise, you're never going to reach anybody for Jesus Christ if you completely withdraw. I'm not talking about pulling out of everything in order to contemplate the things of heaven. The verses that follow in Colossians chapter 3 make it very clear to us that Paul intends for us to have ongoing relationships in this world. And there still will be a difference, though, between the Christians and our ongoing relationships. And that difference is that as a Christian, by thinking heavenly or thinking with a heavenly mind, the difference is that you will begin to see and hopefully learn to see everything in the light and against the backdrop of eternity. We weigh things out against the backdrop of eternity, and that's why little things don't matter. That's what the Bible talks about for these light afflictions. These light afflictions, these small things that happen to us in light of eternity really don't matter that much. We're the ones that make a big deal out of these things, and sometimes you just have to let the little things go, viewing them in the backdrop of eternity and realizing that they don't really have any eternal value or eternal significance to them. They're light afflictions. We no longer live as if this world and all the things of this world are all that matter. We know that is not the case. We've got to learn to view this world, as I said before, against the backdrop of eternity. And so a verse that helps us to do that comes in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, and it says, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Now, understanding that verse, whatever things are true, noble, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if they have any virtue, if they have any praiseworthiness, think on these things. Meditate on these things. One of our downfalls, I believe, as Christians is we spend way too much time thinking on things that really don't matter in light of eternity. And we tend to focus, especially right now with everything going on in our world, we tend to focus on how bad everything is, the things that are going bad. We tend to focus on things that, honestly, we cannot change. We tend to focus on things that are temporal, things that really don't have anything to do with eternity. And in doing so, what happens is when you think on those things and when you meditate on those things, when you think on, it's real easy to think on how bad everything is right now. It really is. But the problem with that when you think on all of those things, when you meditate on all those things, it doesn't take very long before you have a negative attitude and you have unfulfilled dreams and visions because you're focusing on the wrong things. And so what Paul tells us to do, the challenge for us as believers through all of this is this: set your mind on the things of God, heavenly things that have eternal significance attached to them and things that have eternal value connected with them. Think on the things of heaven, whatever things are pure, whatever things are true, those lovely things, all of those, not the bad things, not the negative things of the world. Those things are always going to exist. We're going to have trouble in this world. Jesus said, you will have trouble, but fear not. I have overcome the world. And so the eternal value is the fact that Christ has overcome the world, and the light afflictions and the trouble and the things that we face day in and day out really don't have a whole lot of eternal impact on our lives. And so set your mind, think, meditate on things that are above, things that are heavenly, things that have eternal consequence and value attached to them. Until next week, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I love you. God bless you.